Red Beard Podcast is brought to you by these cool dudes.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Cooley from the Red Beard Podcast, and I'm chilling with my man.
Yo, what up, everybody? It's Tony.
Yo, we're not actually in the same room. This is a Skype conversation, so there might be some audio gaffes, but, you know, shit happens. Life happens. We're adults. We're adulting today, so, you know, he's got shit to do. I got shit to do. So we're squeezed.
But we still care about you guys, so we need to get this out.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, yeah, what's going on today, man? I know, you know, there's tons of fucking news dropping all over the place about Guardians.
Hell yeah.
You know, that's something that, you know, I've been fucking eyeballing with great intent.
Well, Guardians is your thing, man. That's like your baby. So you are pumped about the first movie. You are super excited about the second movie, even though the other day you got a little upset that they already announced they were be releasing a third.
Yeah, why do I have to know that right now? Why?
Well, I mean, I don't... Dude, you know there's going to be another Star Wars.
Yeah, look, here's the thing. We know, like, in our minds that it's happening, right? But to make a fucking announcement before you've even released the movie that's coming out now is, like, just, to me, it's silly. It's silly to me.
Yeah, but you already know there's going to be another Star Wars. You're not heartbroken about knowing that.
I'm not heartbroken, but that it was actually announced as a trilogy. You know what I mean? I know there's going to be another Star Wars. That doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
But for them to come out and say, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm going to write and direct the next... It's just generating hype for the next movie before we've even enjoyed the movie that's out now.
Okay.
Where for Star Wars, the hype is generated for... It's a fucking bad comparison, period. Because you have anticipation for an entire trilogy already built up. This, you don't really know. You don't know that there's going to be a Guardians 3. You know that they're going to probably do something. And if there is a Guardians 3, you don't know that James Gunn is going to come back to it for sure. That's something that, you know, was up in the air. We didn't even know that he was going to do 2. So, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal, man. I think it's like in this day and age, I feel like we are going to know that stuff way in advance. I think they're anticipating the height of Guardians to be bigger than possibly the first one. So because the first one did so well, so they obviously know they're going to make a third. I think cool, I guess, but I understand your point of you don't like always knowing stuff ahead of time. So
it's just allow us to enjoy this first is all I'm saying. You can tell me 2 weeks after it's been released or whatever, oh yeah, we're going to do number 3 or whatever. Great. But before the shit's even released and I can even sit down in the theater and watch it and enjoy it, I now have to, I don't have to, but now you've planted it in my mind and now I'm anticipating what's happening with the third one before I've even seen the second one.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it's just torture.
Oh, it's first world problems.
For no fucking reason. Well, I live in the fucking first world. What do you want?
Movie?
I live in the first world. What do you want? I have empathy for the third worldians, but, you know, shit happens. Yeah, but I don't live in the third world.
There's another Guardians coming out. Oh, I don't have any water today.
Yeah. Yo, I feel so fucking bad for them. I do. You know, and I have water in my fridge that I'll gladly send them UPS. But you know what? Right now, I'm talking about Guardians. The people in the third world aren't listening to my podcast, right? So I don't have to be fucking sensitive to them right now because I'm being sensitive to the people that are listening to us who are fucking worried about Guardians.
Hey, it's just a hunch. If they don't have water, I'm probably sure they're not listening to the podcast.
That's what I'm saying. So what's the point?
Whoa, you're going way too literal on this.
Why bring it up?
Whether or not they're listening to the podcast that they're clearly not listening to.
Why bring it up at all is all I'm saying.
It's fucking hilarious, that's why. Oh, God. And I don't know if they're called Third Worldians, by the way. So, anyway, continue. Guardians news.
So, yeah, apparently there's like 5 after credit scenes.
Which is ridiculous, though. Like, just put it in the movie and have one post-credit scene.
I mean, sure, but I mean, what if that's putting those scenes in the movie didn't really fit in the movie?
Yeah, basically like everything in Batman v Superman that could have been a post-credit scene.
That whole movie was a post-credit scene.
I honestly think if you want to get like specific though, post-credit scenes are no longer a thing of the past or like something that we can wonder about. Like, oh man, like that was cool, like a post-credit scene. Like you don't see that all the time. Now it's like there's always something. Like the first one to ever do it was what, like Ferris Bueller, and now we have to have like a post-credit scene in every movie. It's like I kind of like when there isn't one. It's like, all right, I can leave now.
No, I like it when they do them in the Marvel movies or like the comic book movies, just because it's a stinger. It's like it gives you a little bit of a little bit of extra something. You know what I mean? Like with the characters that may not have fit in the movie. Like, you know, when they're all sitting around eating shawarma and shit like that. That wasn't something that would have fit in the Avengers movie. But to have that character moment was really cool. To have if it wasn't for the Nick Fury stinger at the end of Iron Man, we wouldn't have the fucking Avengers today because there wouldn't have been that fan, you know, reaction to that particular stinger that spurred them to do what they're doing now.
Yeah, I never would have. I mean, I would always expect it with Marvel movies to have a post-credit scene because it's something that they've been doing for a while now. But every movie I feel like has it. Like I have that RunPee app, which is we've talked about before, and at one of the bonuses of that app is it tells me if there's a post-credit scene, so I don't have to stick around. So, kind of like that. But yeah, man. I mean, but what else is going on besides the post-credit scene with Guardians? I mean, we know we heard about that.
I mean, so I mean, 5 post-credit scenes seems like a lot, and I want to know what they're doing with them. I can't wait to fucking see this because, I mean, to have 5, there's got to be at least 1 or 2 that are important to the way that the rest of the Marvel universe is going to unfold. And at least a couple that are just silly, like the Howard the Duck one at the end of the first one.
Right.
But otherwise, I mean, like, there's all kinds of fucking rumors swirling around. I mean, you've got Sylvester Stallone is definitely in the movie. We know that, but who's he playing? Rumor has it that it's going to be Starhawk, which is going to be fucking awesome. Maybe. Like, I mean,
I honestly did not know that. I didn't know that Stallone was in it. That's awesome.
You didn't?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost a fucking foregone conclusion once we knew that Kurt Russell was in it, right?
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, I keep forgetting Kurt Russell's in it too. Every time I see the trailer, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt Russell and Stallone are like fucking. They're like fucking testicle brothers. They always hang together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. So they hang out in a big knapsack.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, we knew he was going to be in it, but Starhawk is a really cool character. I mean, it's interesting that he's going to play because, I mean, Stallone's no spring chicken. I mean, of course they made him look a lot older than he looks in Creed, but he's not far off. I mean, he's a lot more muscular. He's not far off from that, though. I mean, your boy is fucking, like, he's getting up there in age. I mean, and Starhawk is a pretty young-looking character in the book, so it's going to be interesting. He's an immortal, but basically, he's an immortal that, you know, lives an entire life or whatever, and then he can die, but he comes back as, you know, an infant, and he retains all his memories from his previous lives.
Right.
So that's how he's an immortal or whatever. His soul and his mind and his consciousness is immortal, where his body isn't. So it's actually a really cool character. So I'm interested in seeing what they do with that. And there's actually there was a announcement that there's some cameos in there from different characters that have been in Guardians in the comics, like Charlie 27, Alita. We know that Kismet is going to be in it. I think she's going to be probably the main villain. It looks like from the trailer, she's that gold woman. She's basically like the other half of Adam Warlock, who is announced to not be in this movie.
All right.
So that's been a big issue. Well, I don't want to say it's been a big issue, but since it was announced today, it's been an issue with a lot of my friends and people that actually read the comics and are familiar with the story of the Infinity Gauntlet. Adam Warlock is the dude that actually saves everybody. He's the guy that, you know, brings all the heroes together and lets them know about Thanos and the fact that he's got the Infinity Gems and he's, you know, got this godlike power and stuff like that. And, you know, because he's like kind of the main character, he's like the Luke Skywalker of this Star Wars story, if you want to call it that. And him being missing, a lot of people are up in arms about it. But I say, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? He's a character. I mean, like the Marvel universe in the comics and the Marvel universe in the cinematic universe are two different things. I mean, they've gone their own direction and they've told their own story, much like The Walking Dead on TV differs from The Walking Dead in the comics. You have characters that don't exist. You have characters that, you know, are doing things that's uncharacteristic of them in the books, but it all works because it's its own universe. It's its own pocket reality, its own existence. So, I mean, I like being able to go to the movies and watch this shit and not know what's happening and be able to be surprised because it's not something that I've read a million times. So I'm giving it a chance. I think it's going to be awesome, and I think it's going to be totally worth your time and money.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right, man. That's cool. I actually have some other movie news that I can jump into now if you'd like.
I would like, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's regarding Alien Covenant, which I've talked about before, but some pretty cool stuff. So would you like to hear about it?
I would. Please.
All right. So
go
here
forth.
we go.
Go forth with your comments on Alien Covenant.
Hell yeah. So it's some really cool stuff. There were these images that were released that were not necessarily, in the best condition. They're kind of, lower res, but they're giving us kind of a hint of what's going on with Alien Covenant and some things we can expect. So really cool, which I'm really interested in. If you've seen the trailer a ton of times, like I have, it's pretty cool because they are all walking through this planet, and you hear the woman, the lead character, she says, "Oh, did you hear that?" And they're like, "No, I don't hear anything." She's like, "Exactly. There's no birds, no animals, no nothing. Like, it's just silence." So it makes you think if something like happened to what may have inhabited the planet. They actually walk through this field where there's some wheat, and wheat is an earthbound substance or crop. So they try to figure out like who planted the wheat. It could have been these creators that we saw in the first movie, Prometheus. So we know that at the end of the first Prometheus, Dr. Shaw and the android David, who had his head ripped off, take off in this ship and try to go to the creator's planet. Well, there were these pictures that have been released that it's not exactly clear what they are or what they could be, but it looks a lot like there is a figure who looks like David or an android standing in a ship. Basically, I would assume it looks like this door where the bottom of the ship could open and something could be dropped onto a planet. And there are pictures of these creators as well where they're looking up at the ship that has kind of come to their planet. So we might be willing to assume that that is the ship that Dr. Shaw and David were piloting, and they landed on this planet where the creators now live or inhabit this planet. So, but it looks like in this picture, those pods of that black ooze that, were causing a lot of what happened in the first film to happen, and, people to get deformed, and it's a biological weapon, basically, they find out. It looks like they're being dropped out of the bottom of the ship onto the creator's planet. So some people believe that figure is David, who's dropping this stuff onto their planet, wiping out the creators, which could give us an idea of why the planet is so quiet when they arrive on it years later, because those creators have been killed. There's also another scene at the beginning of the movie I'm hearing is where it's going to be a flashback between David and Peter Whalen, who actually owns the company. It's a younger Peter Whalen who was played by Guy Pearce, and we did see Peter Whalen die at the end of the first Prometheus when one of the creators killed him. So interesting to see what that conversation would hold. And what that is based around, because they had a very unique relationship, closer than the relationship that Whalen had with his daughter, played by Charlize Theron. So interesting to see what will be said there. There's also we've gotten glimpses and pictures of what the alien is supposedly going to look like, and they're not calling it a xenomorph; they're calling it a neomorph. So I think it's a phase before what we know now as the alien. It looks like there's two aliens in the movie from what I can see so far. One is kind of almost looks like an albino albino shade kind of alien, which I think is what they're referring to as the neomorph. It still resembles the alien, but doesn't look exactly like what we know today as the alien. And I think there's going to be a second one, which we saw in the trailer on top of the ship trying to break into it, which is what we know as the alien when it actually uses a human as a host. It does change the shape of it a little bit. So, and one of these pictures shows this neomorph kind of like eating something on the ground, which is bloody, but no one can really make out what it is yet because that's the way the picture's been designed. So, who knows? There's also, supposed to be a follow-up to this, which is going to star Catherine Watterson, Danny McBride, James Franco, Naomi Rapist, that sounds bad, Rapace, or I don't know how you say her last name, but it's probably not Rapist. And they're going to reprise their roles of Dr. Shaw. So I think there's going to be a follow-up to this one as well. So a lot of cool things, but we don't really know exactly what's going to happen until the movie comes out. But, I mean, what do you think about all this stuff? Because I know you're not really an Alien fan, but it's a lot of information.
It is a lot of information, man. It's just, I mean, it gets more and more interesting every time I watch a trailer for it or hear something about it. I mean, it took me forever to watch Prometheus, and, I finally watched that, last year?
Something like that, yeah.
And I thought Prometheus was fucking awesome. So, I can't wait to see where they go next with this and kind of see where it goes to get closer to the original Alien story, like the original movie. Because obviously that's what this is all supposed to be leading up to.
Yeah, so I think that we can see a lot of connections and bridges with, this next Prometheus that's going to be coming out just because... it's closer to the third of the trilogy that are leading up to the original Alien. I think that a lot of the connections and bridges are going to be important because a lot of people want to know, how the first Alien came about and where these ships came from and want to know more about it. But I think we're going to see a lot more things that we're familiar with in the third part of this trilogy of prequels, just because it's going to be closer to the time period of the first Alien. And obviously, I don't expect Sigourney Weaver to have a cameo, even that would be cool because she was a lot younger in the first movie. But as many of you know, there is a whole other Alien movie being made right now with Sigourney Weaver. So because she basically
she can make a cameo though as Ripley's mom.
She could. That would be. Yeah, definitely. But I feel like the resemblance, they'd have to do something because them looking that close together would be like twins, Who knows? It's possible. It really is possible. I wouldn't be surprised if they threw something in like that and didn't tell anybody because it would be a really cool, tribute for the fans. But seeing, what she does with her character of Ripley in this other Alien movie to kind of close out, the Alien saga, I think is going to be really cool. And from what I've been reading, they're filming this in a way that the third and fourth movie never happened. So those of you that didn't like, the fourth Alien movie, don't worry about it. For those of you that thought the third one that took place in the prison on another planet was weird and didn't like that, they're not going to be counting that also. It's going to take place right after the second Aliens, which was filmed by James Cameron, one of the best. And from what I heard, Michael Biehn, who played Corporal Hicks, is reprising his role as Hicks as well. So it'll be cool to see them on screen together also.
Word. And some of our sharper listeners are going to recognize that I threw in a tie-in to episode 41, which was actually titled Ripley's Mom.
Yeah, I was well aware of that. So throwing in Ripley's mom. Yeah. So who knows? Ripley's mom, dude. Maybe we'll meet her. I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah. In other news, your another beloved franchise of yours, The X-Files, is coming back at the end of this year, beginning of next year. What do you think of that?
I think it's awesome. I think it's being reprised because people love the X-Files. And even though I loved this last series of the X-Files that they released their season, it really ended on kind of like a what? You're really going to end there kind of note? Like this UFO craft shows up above, what the hell is their name? Mulder and Scully. It shows up above Scully, and we're just kind of like, what? Like, what's going on? And then it just ends. So I knew that there was going to be another series. It was just a matter of time figuring out exactly when that was going to take place. But it's around the corner, so I'm excited to see kind of where this whole thing is going to go. They have to hand it off to somebody or just end it. Like, I don't know if I want to see another X-Files. Like, I want to see them finish the X-Files, series. But I don't want to see them hand it off to anybody else and have them create like a new wave X-Files. Just end it. You know what I mean? Like, just end it, man. End it successfully. Don't create a new one. It's not going to be the same without David Duchovny.
Why not give a younger generation their own X-Files? What's wrong with that?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I just don't think it's going to do as well. I don't feel like the characters are going to carry over. I mean, that show was that show because of the two actors they have, and I don't think it's going to be the same. It's one of those series, man, where this is one of those situations where you have to just let it go. Like, don't try to keep milking the cash cow because eventually it's just going to get dry. Like, just stop. Like,
but what if they're not doing it? Now, we all know that everything is done for money, but what if they're not doing it for the money solely? And what if there is this, like, what if it is this labor of love and they just want to give a new generation of fans the opportunity to have their own Mulder and Scully?
Yeah, I don't know.
Give the characters different names, like the two characters that they introduced that were clearly, the successors of Mulder and Scully in the last 6 episodes that they showed. I can't remember their names, but you know who I'm talking about.
Right.
And why not give them pass the torch to them and let some kids like grow up and actually love the X-Files like you did?
Just because I feel like it's a different. I just feel like it worked because of the two actors they had, and I wasn't too like thrilled with or blown away by the actors in this one. I mean, granted, it was new characters and whatever, but I mean, I don't know, it just wasn't working for me. Like, I felt like when Mulder and Scully were on screen, I was invested. When I was listening to these other characters, I was kind of like half-assing, like I was just half into it.
Right.
I don't know. I just it's a very specific type of show, and I think for that to carry over successfully and be what it was, it would have to have the same vibe that those actors brought to the show. And I don't know if these new actors are going to be able to do that. I mean, they're probably going to give it a shot anyway because that's just the way TV works. And they're going to try to milk the cash cow. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I will say, and I don't want to get into a whole thing about this, but I feel like if they do it, it could turn into what Ghostbusters ended up being.
Which, if you didn't want to make a whole thing about it, then you shouldn't have said it because it's going to be a thing now. It's going to be a thing because I'm going to say something.
Not. We've already had this debate.
Because I'm going to say something. If it's not for you,
to
I'm just saying, if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Yeah, it wasn't.
You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't have to be because it's for the people that it's made for. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have. I mean, if you don't like it, that doesn't mean that you can't allow other people to enjoy it.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that other people can't enjoy it.
Well, you're saying that you don't want it to be that, and you don't want it to happen, and you don't want it to. You don't want to see it like become a thing, which means that you'd like. Which means that you would like.
I think they should stop it. I think they should.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop,
which means that you would like to withhold this wonderful thing from other people.
I don't think it's going to be a wonderful thing.
Well, that's your point. But that's for you. You know what I'm saying? That's your thing. It's just not for you. But I happen to thoroughly enjoy the new Ghostbusters.
Dude, I'm not talking about Ghostbusters. That was just a parallel example that I brought up. I'm talking about that I don't think they should bring it back because it's not going to be what it was. And I was right about Ghostbusters, regardless what anybody wants to say. I mean, look at the fucking money they made off of it. It bombed. It didn't make the money back that they thought it would. So case closed. But like, I honestly think as far as X-Files goes, that show is successful because of who you have in it. If you don't have the same actors, I don't think that it's going to do as well. And that's my theory. I'll stick to it. We'll see what happens if they do hand it off to somebody. But I am psyched that they're going to finish it off with Mulder and Scully. If that's what they tend to do, like who knows? Like it could be, they could do like another series. But I just think it's time. I think people were looking to see if this was going to end on some good note, other than the way the X-Files movies did. And hopefully it does, but we won't know until it comes out. So we'll see what happens. When is the release date for that?
There is none. It's scheduled for the end of this season, but the end of this year, or the beginning of next year. They're going to start filming in the summer.
Oh, all right. Yeah, they haven't started yet. Okay. Cool, man. Sweet. In other news, somebody that I'm sure all of you have heard about, Aaron Hernandez, who was a Patriots player, New England Patriots football player from 2010 to 2012, apparently committed suicide in his cell a couple days ago. I don't know. I mean, he was acquitted of some charges, but was still serving a life sentence. So was it a suicide that he hung himself with his bed sheet from a window in his cell? I don't know if that actually happened. I wasn't there. Obviously, a lot of people say that it was that he was murdered, made to look like a suicide. I was talking to my dad about this yesterday, and one of the things he brought up that I didn't know is that his lawyer said Aaron Hernandez was in good spirits, and it didn't seem like it was something that he would have done. He actually was found with like a Bible verse like written on his head. And they said like for him to like write that on his head would have been like pretty challenging, I guess, like to write it all like backwards and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, obviously that we're not going to see those pictures, but I'm kind of on the fence about it. Like I was surprised, but then again, like if he did do what he supposedly was accused of doing, then I feel like over a certain amount of time, like being acquitted in trial for the murder of someone is one thing, but and you can kind of have like your moment of relief, which is it seems like he did, where he kind of like was kind of in tears because he was happy that like he was found not guilty. But I feel like after that happens, if you did do it, the guilt might actually set in. And, I think the same day, like the Patriots were at like the White House. So, I mean, and that was a big thing in the news. So I don't know. You wonder what's going through his head. Like he was a former Patriots player. They're obviously doing well, having, the time of their lives right now because of where they are as a team. And he is going to be serving a life sentence. He's 27 years old. I mean, like when it hits you that you're not getting out because he doesn't qualify, he was life sentence without parole. Like, dude, he's got a long time in prison. Maybe he just was like, fuck it, I'm checking out.
Yeah,
who knows?
I think he may have had, and this is, look, man, I don't condone anything that he did. I think the guy, when he was alive, was a scumbag. But there's cause to believe that he may have had nobler intentions with the suicide. I mean, in Massachusetts, it's a law that if the person that was convicted appeals, yet is not alive for the trial, and that appeal is still open, then whatever he was convicted of is kind of erased, like it never happened. So he's no longer now that he's dead, he's no longer a convicted murderer. Which is interesting because now that entitles his family to basically the spoils of his career, because he's now owed the signing bonuses and the guaranteed monies from his contract from the New England Patriots, which they didn't owe him if he was a convicted murderer. So those things alone to me, like kind of make me feel like maybe, I mean, I believe he did commit suicide, and I believe he did it for a reason. Whether or not he had help when he did it is inconsequential. I think he did this was very purposeful in the sense that, hey, he's going to be in prison. There's no money coming in. He's got a daughter and he's got a wife that he put in this situation, and quite possibly he wanted to put them in a better situation than what they were going to be in. Yeah,
and I think that's one of the things that a lot of people were considering. The fact that he lives in Massachusetts or that's where he was, and that was the law. That has been another theory, which I can definitely see as a possibility, as something that went through his head. It makes a little bit more sense. But when it happened, I was texting Jim and Don about it, and we both there was a joke or two to be made because the guy was accused of murdering somebody, and in my opinion was kind of an asshole if he did that. But there was also a moment where I was like, this is just, it's tragic because he's 27 years old. He had everything going for him and he threw it away, and that just sucks. And we also agreed we feel bad for his wife and his daughter, especially, who's going to grow up without a father. So, that's the tragic part of it. So, yeah, I mean, nobler intentions, definitely. Not that I think it was the right thing to do. I'm just saying that his reasoning behind it may have been less like, woe is me and I'm going to be in jail forever and right. I can't party with my boys, and more, hey, what the hell is my family going to do now? And that's my fault. So how do I make it right? You know what I mean? Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I kind of agree with him to some sense for doing that. I mean, he's kind of looking out for his family, and I can't put anybody down for doing that. But I mean, he had planned this too, because from what I've heard, now this is just reports that I've read. I don't know if this is true or not, but he soaped the floor. So he basically put soap on the floor, he didn't put a bar of soap on the floor. He soaped the floor, he rubbed a bar of soap all over the floor to make it slippery, so that there was no way out of what he was doing. If he hit the floor, or if whatever happened, he wasn't going to be able to hold himself up with his legs. He was definitely going to hit the ground. His neck was going to snap. That was the intention. And it was going to keep him from backing out of it. That's the whole point of doing that. So, I mean, definitely very sad for his family, very sad for him, to actually take his life. I mean, to be in a spot where you are going to do that and do that to yourself, just kind of snuff yourself out and, everything just goes black and that's it, man. I don't know, man. I don't know if I don't think I'd ever have the balls to do it, or the desire to do it. So, I definitely think it's a tragic moment, but, I think he had the intentions of making sure that his family was taken care of. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I don't know if I'd have the balls to do that. Because otherwise, if he didn't do it, then if he didn't commit suicide and he was still alive, then this would carry on. His conviction would stand, and the Patriots wouldn't know him shit, and there would be no money coming in. Right. And his kid and his wife would be, or his girlfriend, I'm not sure if they got married or not, but they would be left to fend for themselves. Yeah, it's a man. Yeah, tragic is definitely one word, I guess, to really describe that. I don't. Hanging yourself in a cell, man, that's a rough way to go. That's depressing as shit. I think this will be a good time to take a quick break and hear a little bit about our sponsor.
This episode of the Red Beer Podcast is brought to you by Supply and Demand Investing. Not all investments are created equal. Guys, did you know that the Standard & Poor's 500 is made up of the 500 of the 2,400 stocks on the New York Stock Exchange? Say word. And that the S&P 500 index, most quoted by the media outlets, is a cap-weighted index. A cap-weighted index gives more investment weight to larger companies and incrementally less and less to the smaller ones. Get the fuck out of here. Yet, there's another S&P 500 index that invests in the same 500 stocks equally. The question then is, Which of these two indexes do you think has performed better over the past 5 years?
I have an idea.
Well, if you want to find out, go to supplyanddomandinvesting.com/redbeard. That's us, guys. supplyanddomandinvesting.com/redbeard. Now, supply and demand investing helps compare investments in the hopes of delivering better than average results, whether they be long-term, short-term, or just something in the middle. And remember, like any good sports team, when it comes to investing,
The Giants.
there are times to play offense by investing in things like the S&P 500 and times to play defense by investing in things like bonds, CDs, or cash. So I say go Pats.
Go Giants.
Pats?
If you want to find out, check out
supplyanddomandinvesting.com/redbeard.
And we're back. Yeah.
Seriously, man, Fate of the Furious. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the pros and the cons of this movie. So, it's definitely a movie you just go in and you're like, all right, I'm going to see the Fate of the Furious. Let's see some ridiculous shit happen that no one could survive. And that's basically exactly what it was. It was a lot of fun. I spent more of the movie laughing than actually enjoying it. And I think, well, no, I was obviously enjoying it if I was laughing, but I was laughing because the shit that they do in these movies is so ridiculous that it would never actually happen. So I went with
like
Don
fucking,
and Jim.
It's
What?
like fucking Excite Bike, the movie. You know?
God, it is just like, it's ridiculous. You have these larger than life characters like, The Rock and Vin Diesel and, what's her name? Charlize Theron was in this one, and she was great. But it's just like, hold on, I'm getting a ring, which I already declined. But anyway, it's just it's a fun ride. Charlize Theron was in it. She had dreads. That was an interesting choice. But all these characters came together to go through another, huge action-packed movie, and it was just like the stunts they had are things that no one could survive. So spoiler alert, I'm going to ruin some things because it's funny as shit, and I gotta talk about it. So there's this one point where they're all on ice, right?
Yeah.
Now they go into this lot where they can choose the type of car they want, and one of the cars is a Lamborghini, and I look at my friend and I go, yeah, because Lamborghinis run great on ice. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then they have this one point where the Lamborghini goes underwater, and Ludacris is driving like this car that shoots like a friggin' anchor into this other car, and he can kind of rail it in. So he tells him, he's like, they're on walkies. He's like, hold on to the door. And then he shoots something into the door. And then while he's underwater, he pulls him out of the ice while he's holding onto the door, and basically is able to like slide him across the ice and like save his life, which is bullshit. Like, if you got pulled through the ice, like never mind one, are you going to be able to hang on to the door? He was in ice water. He wasn't cold at all. like that was never addressed that he might have hypothermia.
So this shit was like Triple X.
Yeah, and it was Triple X, but worse, man. Like, The Rock jumps out of a truck and he's like, take the wheel, and he's hanging onto a door, but he's like skiing on his shoes, like you know what I mean, like basically like snowboarding on his shoes, and then he literally pushes a torpedo like with his hands like the other way, like away from the truck. It's so stupid. It's so stupid, dude. Like, I'm watching this and I'm laughing my ass off, and my friends were getting a bigger kick out of me. And then like the last scene is which was funny for me, there's this huge explosion, right? Huge explosion. And Vin Diesel is just on the ice, and he's going to get killed by this explosion, right? So all of a sudden, the other cars out of nowhere all pull up and circle around him, right? To shield him from like the explosion. And he kind of just goes down, and like all these cars are around him and block him from the explosion. But nobody in any of the cars that were blocking the explosions got hurt at all. None of the cars had any damage. And as far as I know, Vin Diesel has human skin, and unless you have a Batman fucking cloak that you can throw over yourself that's flame retardant, you're gonna get burned. Like, it was so ridiculous, and I like how they all stopped on a dime, even though they were on ice. But that's fine. That's fine. It's the Fate of the Furious. It was a fun movie.
Snow tires, bro.
Snow tires, bro. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson totally lifts weights. So it was what was to be expected. It was a good movie, and there was a twist at the end. They do like flashbacks, and you're like, how did that happen? Oh shit, that's cool. What a moment. It was fun. It was fun, but it wasn't like amazing. It made a ton of money though, dude. A ton of money. Again, without Paul Walker.
Ghostbusters was better though.
No, it wasn't.
Guaranteed.
It actually was not though. Like, that's the worst part.
No, like I'm not talking about how much money it made, because everybody in the world had your same like point of view that I don't want women doing this role.
It's not what I said.
It's kind of the way it came off. I'm sorry.
That's not what the point was. It wasn't about women doing it. It was about not doing Ghostbusters. The movie itself I'm talking about the Fate of the Furious now, made more money. You know what I mean? Than any movie that came out that weekend. It actually did a lot better than people thought they were going to. Like, it made a ton of money because people still go to see these movies. That's the crazy thing, is like, they know it's going to be stupid and it's going to be like, stunts are going to be crazy, but they're fun movies. And I think that's why people go to see them. And Jason Statham was awesome in it. He's kind of working with them now, and it was cool to kind of see him. So, he's still just the transporter in every movie, but it's great. So, but and he's got his cool Australian accent. I'm Jason Statham. No, he was cool. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. I think if you guys want a fun movie, go check it out. It was definitely it was worth a watch. Maybe a wait till DVD movie, but it's still, if you want to go see it in theaters, you're gonna get that theater experience. It's fun.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna wait.
Big surprise.
Yeah. Like you had talked about, like, just letting things go, and I think this is one of those series that you just gotta fucking let go. I mean, I'm fucking done with this shit. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. How many fucking movies can you make like this, man? I don't get it.
Well, this was what? This was the eighth one. So
yeah, and I'm sure there's going to be a ninth.
Well, there wasn't an end post credit scene. And spoiler alert, if you guys didn't know this was going to happen, at the end of the movie, you find out that The Rock has you find out that Vin Diesel has a son, right?
Yeah.
With that cop that he was like sleeping with at some point. Like, she was a cop, but she was Spanish or Hispanic. I forgot what. She's very pretty. I forgot her name, but he had slept with her in the past, and obviously they had a kid that she wanted to tell him about, but didn't get around to it. I forgot for what the reason was, but he has a kid now. And then at the end of the movie, they're having some, the usual barbecue where like nothing's on the grill, and they're just talking about, let's talk about how important family is. We're family, the same bullshit speech. And then he's holding his kid, and he's like, I want to introduce you guys to Brian something Toretto, and Brian was the name of Paul Walker's character.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Get ready for the ninth installment of the Fast and the Furious, the future of the Furious.
The future of the Furious. That's actually a good title.
That's what is going to happen. I'm telling you. Yeah. I'm calling it now. I'm predicting
the future
that
of
shit.
The Furious.
Yes, it's going to happen. It's going to be fucking it's going to be like The Fifth Element. It'll be all floating cars, and it's going to be this fucking Brian Toretto character.
The Fifth Element. Bruce Willis will have a cameo. Oh, shit. All right, man. Well, that's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that.
That's it.
Yeah.
In other news, getting back to Marvel, there's a show coming out that they've released a trailer for that looks really fucking good. It's based on Cloak and Dagger, and the show is actually called Cloak and Dagger.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
thought?
Right. It's about a couple of teenagers, Tyrone Johnson and Tandy Bowen. But basically their powers are actually really unique. Tandy can create like shards of light. All
right.
And it's basically like they're like daggers. They're like light daggers, which are really cool. And Tyrone basically can open a portal into the dark dimension and basically kind of engulf like enemies or people that he's fighting or whatever, and send them into the dark dimension. So their powers together are kind of like this light and dark aspect, which is really cool. And it's equally interesting that she's white and he's black. So you still have that light and dark.
Wait, who plays the dark? Is it the black guy? Please tell me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm getting. I was getting to that. So, so it's equally interesting that yes, the black guy can send people to the dark dimension, and the white chick can stab you with shards of light. Which it's just I don't know. I don't know why that makes me giggle inside, but it does.
Has anybody already said shit about this? Like, have they commented on it that's?
I really don't know that anybody.
Come to the dark side.
I've never seen anybody like really point that out, but I've always noticed it, and it's just fucking funny to me. But it's still it's really cool. It's a really cool story. I mean, the characters are actually pretty tragic. I think they're gonna follow the ultimate version of the comics with these characters, where they kind of meet. And they're like really, really from different sides of the track. And I mean, like, he's like this, like overachieving, like athlete. And she is like kind of like a skate rat kind of girl, you know? And,
Okay.
I don't know, like that's kind of what the trailer kind of gave me the impression of, where the kid is like the Tyrone is always being pushed by his parents to be the best that he can be. And, you know, she's just kind of like trying to find herself in the world, that kind of thing. And they meet each other and blah, blah, blah. And eventually, like in the comics, not in the show, because I honestly don't know what's going to happen in the show because the trailer didn't get this far into it. But in the comics, like they are going to like prom or whatever, and they get into a car accident and they end up dying.
Jesus.
And they're brought back with these abilities. And so I don't know, maybe not, but it'd be interesting if they take elements from that, because that was really a really good version of those characters. And they're very interesting characters. It's going to be cool to see them play off each other. And it's a romance because they're actually like, you know, they're romantically involved with each other, which is really cool.
All right.
So looking forward to that. And they also announced, at the same time that they announced this and showed us the trailer, they actually announced New Warriors, as a TV series coming to Freeform as well. Both of these are coming out in 2018. The New Warriors show is actually going to be a 30-minute series. So every episode is going to be 30 minutes long, and it's going to be a comedy. So it's going to be their first foray into television comedy, which is going to be pretty interesting, and I hope they pull it off well.
Word, man. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I bravo to you, man, for keeping up on all these shows. I don't know how you do it, man. Like, I don't know how you're gonna watch all these though, right?
Oh, you know I will.
I don't know how you do it, man. I'm psyched for these because they actually sound pretty awesome. I will have to find some time to watch them because they sound badass.
Well, I mean, going to the gym and stuff like that, like when I'm on the treadmill or when I'm on, the elliptical or whatever, like I'm going to do for cardio that day, I just bust out the phone, put it on the thing, and I put my headphones on and I watch a show or two.
Yeah, you can do that, though, on the treadmill because you have T-Mobile and have unlimited data. I have not done that yet. So that's a plus for you, man, that you can, like, use that time to watch some shows. I honestly just caught up on, what was it? Me and Becca watched the last two episodes of Scandal a couple nights ago because I didn't have rehearsal, so we watched that, and we missed the last episode last night because we went to Providence for our 1-year anniversary.
Nice.
So,
well, congratulations on that.
Yeah, crazy, right, man? 1 year. Holy shit.
Oh, and
but anyway,
thanks for the thank you card, by the way. I got that in the mail too. That was awesome.
I'm glad you got it, man. I planned that out specifically, time wise. Did you see my note in there?
Yeah. Listen to Redbeard podcast. Those guys are pretty good.
Yeah. So, well, I'm glad you got it, man. I was waiting a while for specific people. I had specific people in mind that I wanted to wait a little bit longer than the other thank you notes for a reason. Because everybody there, it was great, but my closer friends, I sent thank yous out a little bit later. So glad you got it, man. But yeah, back to the shows. I definitely want to watch those, man. They sound great. I can't wait to actually check them out. Is there anything else going on as far as with? There was some rumors that I heard. I don't know if you heard these about they're recasting who's going to be playing the next Logan. Have you heard anything about this?
No, and no, they shouldn't do that. And the reason why they shouldn't do that is because they've laid the foundation for the next Wolverine, and it should be Laura X-23.
Yeah,
because Laura Kinney is now Wolverine in the book, so we shouldn't be recasting Logan. We should be thinking about how to move ahead with this fantastic character. I mean, she's fantastic in the books. I didn't know like what I was going to think of her actually being Wolverine, but I mean, she is, for all intents and purposes, Wolverine. She's made from his DNA. So she does. I mean, in the comics, she's great, and in the movie, the young girl that Daphne Keene, the young girl that played her, is fantastic. So I mean, like, I'd love to see her kind of grow into the role, and they'd have Wolverine for years if they did that.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I was kind of shocked as well because I was online just kind of surfing the web, and I saw this picture come up, and it said that they were as a possibility that they were looking into Tom Hardy, like playing Wolverine, and I was like, what? Like, and I don't know if it was it could have been one of those things where it was like a mock photo where they took him, but it looked like it was a photo that he had taken where like he had done his hair somewhat the same way. He kind of like had like fake blades in his hands. So unless it was photoshopped, but from what I saw, it looked like a real photo. But I mean, I just feel like Logan died. Why haven't anybody but Hugh Jackman pick that up? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, first of all, like when Logan dies, it's like way in the future. So maybe they're talking about recasting him for some present day stuff. Which, I mean, if Hugh Jackman doesn't want to do it and they are doing stuff in present day where X-23 doesn't exist, that would be interesting. And I'd kind of be all for it. I don't see why not. The Logan that we saw die was definitely in the future, so he could look a little bit different. So I wouldn't mind that, but I'm saying like to continue his story from where we left off is kind of silly, obviously because he died and because X-23 is the next Wolverine. And aside from that, like I think where I was going and where I'm thinking is like if they're gonna reboot the universe or like actually reboot the series and like start it over, it's fucking dumb. It's a dumb idea.
Yeah, I thought. Well, that's the thing. I don't think they should do that, man. I think Hugh Jackman already laid it down like great. So why try to do that over? You kind of like basically, you just keep banging the head of the nail on the head over and over again until there's nothing left. I just leave it alone. I mean, yeah, but doing some present day Logan stuff that could be kind of cool. So I don't know. It's something that I saw online. I just want to see get your thoughts on that. There's in other news. There's also a movie that came out coming out today called The Lost City of Z, which you had no idea what it was, and you said it's something that's going to be coming on the History Channel. So
yeah,
do you want to see it?
No, I'm good.
Why not?
I have better things to do with my 2.5 hours, like watch the shows that you're so impressed that I can keep up on.
That's true. Maybe it's because I watch things like this.
Yeah, it's possible, man. Like, I mean, this just sounds like it's so fucking boring, and I will watch it like when it hits the History Channel. When it hits the History Channel, I'll fucking watch it, and it'll be on the History Channel. I guarantee it.
Maybe in like 10 years.
Like fucking next week, it'll be on the History Channel. You know, it won't even be the movie that's on the History Channel. It'll be like, last week, this movie was in cinemas. That's history.
And that's history. Oh man, no, I don't know. I haven't. I saw the preview for it once. Actually, that is something that I watched the trailer for at the gym. It popped up, and I was like, "What is this?" But the Lost City of Z. Only thing I could. It's not what I thought it was. Briefly, I had talked to you about it. I guess it takes place in the Amazon or something like that, which is in South America. But when they said the Lost City of Z, I was thinking of the Lost City of Zinj, which was that city they discovered in the movie Congo, which I don't know. I've always had an interest in, but people have gone in like looking for it and have never found it, or like they like go in looking for it and no one ever sees them again.
Right.
So who knows?
But this is in the Amazon.
What's that?
But this is in the Amazon.
Yeah, it's in the Amazon. So, but dude, just as I think even more like fucked up shit is in the Amazon than in the Congo. Like in the Congo, there's probably some gorillas and really weird shit and that you shouldn't fuck with. Like, but I just feel like the Amazon, it's like swampy. It's like hot weather. It's just you're sweating and getting eaten alive at the same time. I'm all set. So, you know,
there's anacondas.
Yeah, there's anacondas, bro. Dude, would you ever go on an expedition like into the Congo or into the Amazon?
No.
Like what? How much money would somebody have to give you to do it? Like legit.
Ugh. Yeah, I would need a lot of money.
We'll give you 20 million.
I'd do it for 20 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long is the expedition?
A month.
Yeah, I'd do it for 20 million for sure.
But what if you don't ever see that money because something happens?
Yo, I would do it for 20 million. And I would make it. Let's put it that way. I would make it out.
But you're like the black guy, isn't that like the thing, man? The black guy
I would fucking make it out. You give me $20 million, I'm making it out. Because
make it out.
Because I'm the black guy. You know what I'm saying? You give me 20 million, I'm making that. I'm making out. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? In a month, I'm out. I'll be
in a month. I'm out.
Yep. Give me my check.
Everybody around you's dead.
Just give me my motherfucking check.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, 20 million. That's legit, right?
Yeah. No, I'd take it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't know
All
why.
right, yeah,
I don't know why. I don't know. Let's
Check it
ask.
out.
Let's ask why anybody would ever pay me 20 million to go into the Amazon.
I don't know. 'Cause maybe like you're looking for the cure to something. Like
but but I wouldn't be doing that. Like I have zero skills in the Amazon that anybody would want to exploit for $20 million. Like I'm the last guy that they would go to. Like they wouldn't be like, oh, let's get Cooley. He'd be great at this. You know, let's give him 20 mil. It's a steal, I'm telling you.
Yeah, for what? It's one of those hypothetical situations where it's like, yo, what would you do, bro, if you found a briefcase of money in an alley? Like, shut up. So, I'd fucking take it, bro.
Yeah, right.
About?
I'd give it to the police and wait the required 30 days. And if nobody claims it, then I would check with the police to make sure, and then maybe they would give it back to me. Because I'm honest.
I would take that money, fucking put it in the bank. A little bit per day until there's nothing left in the fucking briefcase. So that's basically what I would do. Because you can't just drop like 3 million in an account and have no questions be answered. So, no, it's I never put any of my money in that I got when I DJ'd, and they all paid me in cash. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. So hey, if you like movies about expeditions going into the Amazon looking for lost cities that are named Z, this is the perfect movie for you. So go check it out. It came out today. It's got Robert Pattinson in it too. So if you like him, there you go.
Who is it?
Robert Pattinson.
Oh yeah, I fucking love Robert Pattinson.
Right? A lot of people do, which is why this is going to do well.
Twilight was the shit.
Exactly. That's what it was. It was the shit. Because cool vampires sparkle like K jewelers when they take off their shirt. So they don't burst into flames like witches of the night.
It's kind of like you. You sparkle when you take off your shirt.
I don't sparkle, man. I fucking
sunlight hits you and it's like boom.
No, dude, if I am ever on the beach and I'm trying to hide from somebody, I'll just take off all my clothes and you can't see me. Dude, I'm a shade away from being the albino from that movie.
Dude, if you took off all your clothes at the beach, you couldn't see anything. You just fucking blind everybody.
Oh yeah, dude. It's pretty bad.
Where's Tony? Oh, he went supernova.
Yeah. Yeah. He went yeah. It's too late. It's too late. Just forget you ever knew him. Dude, seriously, it's crazy. Anyway, hey, dude, you saw me on stage last week. I mean, I had a tank top on, but did you see anything else? It was like, could you see my skin?
That was a weird fucking, that was a weird way of putting that though. I had a tank top on. Did you see anything else? It's like,
you know what I mean? Could you see my skin? Or did it look like the Invisible Man was wearing a tank top? Like,
yeah, he did have you up against a bunch of pastel like colors, so it was you didn't really blend into the stage, so like you stood out a little bit, but yeah, I was able to make out shapes.
All right. Oh, man. Well, what was that? There's a line in the show where he goes, the guy who plays my boss goes, he walks up stage and he goes, he's like a milk bottle with shoes. So anyway, well, whatever. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, real quick, there's some comic book news out there.
Yeah.
Captain America has been going through some stuff lately, man. Over the last, say, about a year, Nick Spencer took over the book, and I guess people kind of flipped out because, and I think I talked about this on the show briefly, or at least on Hanging with Cooley, because I think I was still doing Hanging with Cooley at the time. Cap has been revealed to be actually a spy.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking
for Hydra,
about this.
And people kind of flipped out and they were losing their shit, and that all calmed down because it was revealed that it was because of this cosmic cube, they got that kind of rewrote his reality. So it's not like they've been lying to us the whole time. It's just they rewrote his reality, and there's hope that he can go back to being the legit Cap. Well, Secret Empire has now been released, number 0, and that's kind of been retconned. So Cap has always been an agent of Hydra, even before the Cosmic Cube manipulation. In fact, the Cosmic Cube manipulation basically restored him to his status as an agent of Hydra, because apparently during World War II, the Axis won the war, and the Allies lost. Well, the Allies got their hands on a cosmic cube back then and kind of rewrote history so that they won and that Captain America was on their side the whole time. So now, fast forward all these years to the present, Red Skull gets his hands on a cosmic cube and kind of rewrites history back to what it was, where Captain America was part of Hydra. So I think now fans are going to be up in arms once again, because now all hope of getting their beloved Captain America back is kind of dashed to the wind. But I say, hang in there, true believers, and just understand that it's a story. It's a fucking comic book. Shit ain't real. And just enjoy it, man. Let them tell the story, and who knows where it's going to end up. It can take you to fucking wonderful places, man. Sam Wilson is now Captain America. He's entrenched in the role. I don't give a fuck if you like that he's a black dude or not, but he is a black dude, and more power to him. But he's doing a great job as Captain America, and who knows what's going to come out of this. Let's see what they do with the story and where it goes from here.
So you don't find that upsetting that he's always been an agent of Hydra?
No, it's a fucking
Captain
story.
America stands for America, and the fact that he's playing for the other side, I can see why that would upset people.
Yeah, it's fucked up. But guess what? It's part of the story. It's who he is. So Am I upset? Yeah, but not upset with Marvel for doing it. I'm upset that, hey, oh man, this character that I thought was, I feel it's like a betrayal almost, but I don't feel betrayed by Marvel. I feel betrayed by the character because I'm letting them tell the story.
But do you think that this is actually going to turn around? Like they're doing this for now and they know it's going to piss off people, but then they reveal that like he wasn't,
I mean,
like a 360 type deal.
Who knows? I mean, you don't fly a plane without having an eject button, right? So I mean, like, I'm sure Marvel has all their ducks in a row, and I'm sure they have a way out if they need it. But the point is, just read the story. You know what I'm saying? It could end up being the greatest story ever told, and you won't even fucking know about it because you're like, oh, I'm not even going to read it anymore because blah, 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 blah. Like, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the whole point is if you care about the character, right, care about the character first, and then the character betrays you, then you feel the betrayal of that character, but don't feel betrayed by the writer. The writer is fucking making the character interesting again because you can only follow a Boy Scout for so long. You know what I mean? Before either he has to pass on the torch or you find out that he's not what you thought he was. He just added another layer to this character.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that Captain America's evil. He's just not for America. Now, the branch of Hydra that he's fighting for or whatever, the branch of Hydra that he's a part of isn't necessarily the Nazi Hydra that everybody's associating him with. It's a splinter of that organization that kind of, denounced the Nazi, actions that they were taking. So he's not like a Nazi. He's not like, anti-Semitic or, against blacks or anything like that. Like he's just got his own world vision that he wants to see come to fruition. So who knows what his true intentions are or if he's got noble intentions or evil intentions, but we're going to find these things out because now he's an entirely new character, which again makes it more interesting.
I just feel like it's one of those situations where I don't know. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, but yeah, I can understand where people are coming from. Like he stands for everything good, and now he's playing like the bad side, I guess, like not the side that people would prefer. So, and people have loved. I mean, look at it this way, dude. Like, pretend that's like your favorite Marvel character ever.
That is my favorite Marvel character ever, and I've said this millions of times. He is my favorite Marvel character ever, and
that doesn't bother you.
If I can get over it, then other people should be able to as well.
Well, then there you go. All right, that's a perfect example.
Yeah, I mean, like Captain America is my favorite character. Always has been. It's the story of a character who, it was a kid who fucking was like frail and weak, and basically, still wanted to fight for his country and made the ultimate sacrifice, which could have meant his death, but became the super soldier that he is today. I mean, it was always something that I drew from inspiration, and I loved that character, and to see this happen, yeah, I feel the sting of betrayal. I feel like, oh my God, this character is now not what I thought he was. But it's just like finding out that, a friend of yours is like a complete dick and has been talking about you behind your back. You know what I mean? It's like that's the feeling that people should be getting, not fuck Marvel for doing this interesting thing with this character. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's weird to me that people would just automatically just look at the writer and say, oh, fuck him, he screwed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he didn't screw up. We don't even know where this is going yet. We haven't seen the end of this. We don't know what's going to happen and how this is going to turn out. How can you be mad at the writer?
Right.
He's given you something more interesting to. I mean, all you're gonna do, if all Captain America did was fight the enemy and win every single time you read the comic book, how interesting is that? It's not at all. And that's why
it makes sense. It makes sense. I like I said, I mean, I understand your point of view, but I can also understand where people are coming from, kind of being upset that he's just playing the other side. Mm-hmm. It's like throwing a wrench into somebody's tire, I guess, and to some fans. So
yeah, what it is just that what it is. It's just that these fans that are getting pissed off at the wrong people, they just don't have the fucking mental capacity or the toolbox to draw from. To deal with the feelings of betrayal that they're feeling because they're fucking lashing out at the wrong people.
Right.
Because I feel the same thing that they feel. It's just I know where to direct it and I know what's real and what's not because it's a fucking comic book character.
Right. Makes sense.
Word.
I agree. One more note just for people out there that would care. Tonight is, or today and tomorrow is the second week of the show that I'm in, Barry Weintraub Legacy. So if you guys are local and you want to check it out, or you're close by, come check it out. It's at the Arctic Playhouse in West Warwick. Both shows tomorrow and Saturday are at 8 o'clock. Tickets are $10 online at thearcticplayhouse.com, $15 at the door. And it will also be going on next weekend, the last weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Same deal, all shows at 8. So come check it out. It's a fun time. It's a night of spastic comedy. And if you check my Facebook or Redbeard Podcast, there's a review up on the show. So hope you guys can check it out.
Word. And it's excellent. I've seen it. It's a great show. A lot of fun. Go check it out for sure.
Word.
Word up. That's it, guys.
That's it.
Check us out on Facebook, on redbeardpodcast.com, on Twitter, at Redbeard Podcast. I was about to say Redbeard Facebook. Yeah, check us out at all the comms and nets and
social
stuffs.
media platforms.
Yeah, Redbeard Podcast keyword. Redbeard's all one word, by the way, for all you knuckleheads
Yeah.
that want to put a space in between red and beard.
All right, guys. We will catch you guys next week, and that's all she wrote.
Peace.
Later.